What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one we're going to be going over what Jim Harbaugh and some Michigan players are saying ahead of the Nebraska game, as Jim Harbaugh discusses and addresses Michigan's offense, plus Donovan Edwards' struggles, and JJ McCarthy predicting a blowout by halftime as he wants to shush the Nebraska crowd, plus Michigan impresses some recruits on their visit as they visited for the game against Rutgers. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is some things that Jim Harbaugh addressed today in his weekly press conference. And first off, Jim Harbaugh, he talked about the Michigan offense and also the new clock rule where the time does not stop after first downs outside of the final 2 minutes of each half. Harbaugh said that it becomes more about possessions. He said we had 7 this past game. The 8th would have been Mike Sainristil's interception that put points on the board, which we love. But he said, points per possession, ball control, time of possession, and turnovers become even more of a factor. Also talking about Mike Sainristil's pick 6, he said, I lost where the ball was, but he said our guys are trained in practice. If the ball's ever on the ground, we were hopping on that mistake and trying to advance it. But he said it was an incredible play when I got to see it from a different angle. He said he has tremendous ball skills, the athleticism, and the balance. Harbaugh also said that coming out of the Rutgers game that to be able to win, to be pretty darn healthy too, those are great things. He said, I thought there were some really good things, whether it was the running game, the passing game, the quarterbacking was at an high level. The receivers continued to excel. And Harbaugh also addressed Donovan Edwards' struggles as he's carried the ball 33 times for only 109 yards, which is 3.3 yards per carry in 4 games so far. He has been effective in the pass game though, but Jim Harbaugh said that he's good. He's good like he's always been. We play multiple backs, and he said statistics really don't mean anything to us when it comes to all the players. It's what's good for them individually, what's good for the team. And I said even Blake Corum, he was running the ball really good, 97 yards. I took him out of the game because I don't think he needs another 100-yard game as much as he needs to be healthy. And I said so there are going to be games where one back might be featured more than another. That's kind of how it's been here. And he said we'll probably have this conversation again next week if Dono carries more of the load. You might ask me what happened with Blake, and I just said there's absolutely nothing wrong with Donovan Edwards right now. And he said there's nothing wrong with the running back room either. He also had some high praise for Kalel Mullings as he had a couple good carries at the end of the game there. He said Kalel Mullings goes in and just the vision I have for one of those backs being a big back. He said he was reminded of Stanford's Toby Gerhart watching Kalel on those carries, and he hopes that he continues that. Now JJ McCarthy also spoke with the media, and he spoke about prepping for the first road game of the season. He said, I'm not going to lie, road games are probably my favorite. There's nothing better than going into a stadium where people are jumping and crazy, and by halftime it's as quiet as a mouse. So JJ McCarthy taking his shot, predicting Michigan will be up big at halftime next week against Nebraska on the road. Now JJ McCarthy also spoke about what he learned from his 3-interception game against Bowling Green. He said, I definitely used that as fuel this past week, just kind of bounced back. And he said the biggest thing I learned from it is not to put so much pressure on myself. And he said it was honestly a blessing in disguise, and it's in the past now, not worried about it at all. He also talked about Jim Harbaugh being back on the sidelines. He said, for me specifically, it's that comfort being out there on the field. He said obviously he's the leader of the organization, he's the leader of our team, and just being out there with him at the front lines with us, it means so much, and it just brings that extra level of alright, here we go, we are here to play. And he also talked about the coaches limiting his ability to run in the non-conference as he didn't run the ball too much. He said that they obviously were limiting him, but also Jim Harbaugh has emphasized of him not getting hit while on the run. But I said that he was definitely itching to run the ball against Rutgers. He said, "I trust my coaches wholeheartedly, and whatever they say I'm going to do." Now, JJ McCarthy going into Nebraska week, I said it doesn't matter if we were on the road or in the big house. No matter what, we are always striving to get better each and every day. No matter what the external circumstances are, it's not going to change what we came here to do. Now, lots of Michigan players also really like the atmosphere in Nebraska. Mike Sainristil said, he said, "I'm not going to lie, when we went there 2 years ago, that night game was probably one of the funnest games I've ever played in." And he said, it honestly, in my opinion, was louder than Penn State because it was loud the whole entire game. Trevor Keegan also said that it was a special atmosphere that game. It was definitely probably my favorite place to play at as well. And he said, honestly, their fans are so nice too, to the point that he thought they were messing with him. Jim Harbaugh on going on the road to take on Nebraska, he said, "Pack a good football team to go on the road, especially the defense. Make sure you've got your defense packed. Don't leave them at home." So that's what some Michigan coaches and players said ahead of the 3:30 game against Nebraska on Saturday, and also what they had to say about the win over Rutgers. And now I want to talk about Michigan impressing some recruits as they visited Michigan for the Rutgers game. And we'll start first with the 2025 four-star linebacker Weston Port from the state of California. He told the Michigan Insider that game day is just different. The environment, talking to the other recruits, seeing the coaches and players during the walkthroughs that morning, and then the atmosphere of the game is exactly what I hoped it would be. He also got to bond with linebackers coach Chris Partridge. He said, "Getting to dive in more with him was really good for me. We talked X's and O's quite a bit. He's my kind of coach." And he said that Michigan, it's one of my top choices without a doubt. As Weston Port, he has offers from multiple schools including Ohio State, Auburn, Colorado, Florida State, Georgia, Oregon, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Miami, Michigan, and others. Another guy was a 2026 in-state offensive tackle, Gregory Patrick from Portage, Northern Michigan, and he took a visit to Michigan this weekend against Rutgers. He said, "I think the visit went really well, and some of the highlights were receiving an offer from Coach Moore and talking to him." He said, "Seeing the game atmosphere and the fans was also cool." And talking about Coach Sharon Moore, he said, "I think he's a great coach and seems like a very genuine and good guy." And I said, "I wasn't expecting the atmosphere in the stadium to be so exciting. It's a great school, and it seems like the football team has a great culture around the program, and the offensive line develops players there. I don't know when I would be able to get back yet, but I look forward to visiting again in the future." So Gregory Patrick notching an offer from Michigan, and he had a great visit. And then the four-star offensive tackle and Michigan commit in the 2024 class, Blake Frazier, was back in town. He said, "I think the most amazing part of the visit, and really every visit I go on, is the relationships I have with everyone." And he said, "I think the offensive line played great." He said, "They are dangerous humans." And talking about Coach Sharon Moore, he said, "Every time I get to see Coach Moore, it's all love." But he had another good visit to Michigan this weekend, and he also got to talk to the three-star offensive lineman commit Jake Guarnera on the visit. Guarnera told On3 and the Wolverine that it was a great visit. "I hung out with Blake basically the entire time we were there. We got there a little early, and he said we were chatting the whole game." And Guarnera said that he got to talk to Coach Moore after the game. He got to see what he told the players. He said that they were already thinking about getting ready for Nebraska, and that really stood out to him. So Michigan impressed some recruits on their visits this weekend as they visited for the Michigan vs. Rutgers game. But other than that, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it. But other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.